Hey, morning parents, family members, staff members, and then most importantly, our prestigious award winners. Welcome to your 2021 High School Awards Ceremony. Very good to see everybody. And we do have a couple who are a little bit running slightly late, so we'll see whether or not they come through. But to start punctually, 9 o'clock, to get going. So it really is a pleasure to have everybody join us in this venue to prepare to celebrate the achievements of our learners over the last year, especially considering the fact that 2020's award ceremony had to be cancelled due to COVID restrictions. So having this is really another special moment in our high school. We are going to start proceedings off with the South African National Anthem, whereafter I'm going to ask Sibongiseni and Armand to come up, and they are going to open things off with a Bible reading and a prayer, followed by Mr. van der Walt, who's going to come up and give the annual campus feedback report. Okay, so if I can ask everybody to stand up and we'll sing the National Anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I'll be doing a short Bible reading. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 to 24 says, "Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ." Philippians chapter 1, verse 6 says, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." Thank you.
As I ask for a short prayer. Here, U is ons begin en ons einde. Dankie dat ons die jaar kan afsluit en weet dat U daar was om ons te dra en te lei. Here, U ken ons elkeen se swaar skei en blydskap. Here, lei vanoggend se verrigtinge waar ons almal eer vir hulle harde werk in 2021. Mag dit ons inspireer om volgende jaar nog harder te werk. Dankie vir elke talent en goeie gawe wat U vir ons elkeen gegee het. Aan U behoort die mag en die koninkryk. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to give the annual report for what has been very interesting here. If I can start off with, Gandhi once said that the future depends on what we do in the present. And in 2021, we were very hard at work trying to recover what was lost in 2020. So just in brief, so all of you can celebrate what our learners have done. The academic report will be given to, or by Mr. Mercer after this, but the academics this year was focused around trying to recover that was lost during the online section of last year. As we all are well aware, a number of learners became very creative with what was done online. I can be in class, but I don't have to have my video on, and then I can have the Xbox going behind my laptop. So our focus to a large extent was to identify those gaps and hopefully to correct them. On the arts and culture front, this year our learners did exceptionally well under the guidance of Mrs. Noah and her team. Our music department grew not only in staff and stature, but also grew to a massive number of 88 learners taking music at school, which amounts to approximately 28% of all the learners in the primary school formally taking an instrument, which is amazing, and that's what we like. We've also added for a second year of Virtual Arts and Culture Festival, whereby our learners are preparing for the Curro Create competition and exposing them to something that takes them completely out of their comfort zone. It puts them in front of a camera and not just a classroom. And for those of you who unfortunately had the pleasure of viewing me trying to do it yesterday, it's not as simple as you think. So the quality of work that you saw on social media of our kids participating in the Virtual Arts and Culture Festival was amazing. So to Mrs. Noah and her team, really well done in that regard. And I'm excited to see what the team will do for the Curro Create competition. For those of the parents here that don't know what Curro Create is, that is our national competition between all, next year it'll be 78 campuses within the Curro group on our arts and culture platform. So well done and good luck, Mrs. Noah and your team. On the sports field, sport was very up and down, as we all know this year. If we look at what's happening at national levels, matches are being cancelled and very strict rules and regulations were put in place. What we as a school then decided was to drive a skills-based program whereby we can ensure that our kids start moving again, but also trying to keep that in a safe and secure environment. Next year, we hope to get back into playing matches to ensure that our kids' competitive spirit comes back after COVID, so we're extremely excited about that. But all of that being said, we still had learners who performed really well, who deserve a mention on campus. We had Melania de Villiers, who received her provincial equestrian colours, and Quanele Poli, who was taken up into the SA National Gymnastics Squad. If we can give the both of them a round of applause, although it's in their absence. On the staffing front, when we look at our entire campus, I'll briefly run through that. Unfortunately, we will be losing, or have already lost, Mrs. Kemp, who will be immigrating to Canada, and we wish her all the best. But we'll also be welcoming back Mrs. Yolandi Nurkia, who after having spent 4 years at Curro Pinehurst in Cape Town as the head of their preschool, returning to Aberga to take up the headship at our castle, and we would like to wish her all the best. On the primary school front, a number of things will change. We will add a head of primary next year to drive the operational and logistics side of the campus for us, and Mrs. Juanita van der Merwe will be taking up that position. We've also added a head of didactics who will drive the didactics program for us, and Mrs. Meyer will take up that position for us. And just taking that into account, it means there are some important spots going open. Mrs. Safia Ibrahim will be taking up the intermediate phase ed position, and Miss Sunel Dutoy will move from aftercare, having formally qualified as a teacher this year, to take up a Group 5 position. Our reception will also change with Mrs. Chetty having moved to St. George's Prep. Ms. Kanye Funde will take up that position for us, being the face of the school. And then we'll also add 3 additional staff members in the primary school alone, with Ms. Wenlock, Mr. Hasty, and Mr. Hayes joining the team. And for those of you with kids in the primary school, you'll meet them next year. Then on the high school front, we're also adding 4 additional staff members to the team to make sure that we can deliver a quality product. All of these educators are experienced, and we're excited to make them part of the team. We've got Mr. Kutsia for business studies, Mrs. Umath for English, and Mrs. Foreman will be our Curro Choice Liaison Officer. Dylan Langeveld will also join the team permanently for EGD, which we're very excited about. And then last but not least, Mrs. Tyrion will join us as the face of the high school and all the challenges that comes with that. So we're excited to add all those staff members to make sure that what we do gets done well. Then, obviously, as you all would have noticed, things on campus change on an annual basis. I always believe the change on campus is for the better, and for those parents that have been here since 2014, it's really changed a lot. So just in brief, all in all, I don't think anybody can guess exactly how many formal capital projects we ran this year, but there were approximately 11. I know we all look at the two big ones, which is the addition of the actual high school building and the indoor center, but other projects were also the addition of the second entrance, the upgrading of the sport facilities. That's meaning we're adding a second sports field, we're putting in watering systems to make sure that our facilities remain top-notch, and we've also upgraded the bathroom facilities. We've enclosed the walkways on the primary school side. All of them are now permanently closed to make sure that our learners are warm during the cold winters, which are becoming worse. We've upgraded the remedial security facilities, which is essential because external service providers are spending time with our kids on a one-on-one basis. We've upgraded the security at the second entrance. We've upgraded the grade R play area. We're adding the music department's 5 formal venues to put some pressure on them, not that they need it. We'll add a tuck shop for next year. And we've also upgraded our internet capacity. We've basically quadrupled it to make sure that we've got 800 megs worth of bandwidth on campus, which is more than what most businesses in town can say. All of this is being done to make sure that the future for our learners are bright, and we're very excited to take up the new building, and I know the staff members are excited to go to the new classrooms. The rollout of the high school will still take place in 3 phases, where we'll make sure that we have all the right facilities in place at the right time. And then just in brief, there's always people that we need to thank that formally have an active role in what we do on campus. Firstly, our Heavenly Father for keeping us safe during what is still a pandemic. Although it doesn't feel that way, it is still a pandemic. We need to thank Curro Holdings, who've, even though the pandemic, have trusted in our campus and invested in our campus to the extent of 75 million rand this year. That being said, it also shows that your school fees are going to the right places. Then I'd like to thank the learners that we are celebrating today for their hard work. To perform academically means you're actively involved in the process, and that's what we want for all our kids. To the PAC and their challenges of getting people up and active and involved on the parent side, we appreciate your support. The remedial specialists on campus who are helping us bridge the gaps that was created not only by COVID, but at the moment largely by COVID. To the administrative and marketing staff who take up a lot of the heavy burden of communicating properly, we appreciate your help. Our senior management team for their role in helping steer the ship. Our campus staff under the leadership of Mr. Ananda. Our campus is always neat and tidy, and I think it's important that we celebrate those staff members for their contribution, but then especially if we see Mr. Plaikis and Mr. Madata on campus. They spend approximately 3 hours after work every day sanitizing our school to make sure that we are a safe and secure environment. And I'm proud to say that this year we've had far less positive cases than we had last year. And that allowed us to be in the classroom on campus doing what we need to do to ensure that our kids do well. Then just briefly in closing, if we go back to what Gandhi said, that the future depends on what we do in the present, I can only say and believe that the future of our campus and our learners looks bright. I'd also like to thank you as parents for your support. Without your involvement in your child's education, this won't work. So thank you for those that are actively involved. We appreciate it, and I know your children appreciate it, especially in the busy times where we're all busy with our own things and driven by our jobs. And then I would like to just thank you for the privilege and the honor of being able to still lead the school going into the future. It's working with a staff like ours. It excites me to come to work every day. So thank you very much to our staff. And to our learners, congratulations. Next year we'll be doing this in our own school hall, on our own stage, and celebrating what is hopefully even better by you all. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. van der Walt. I think, it's quite important that we realize how blessed we are to be part of a school that is developing as rapidly as it is and is fast becoming quite a prominent name in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. And so let's keep doing that. And following on from what Mr. van der Walt has mentioned, I'd like to focus a little bit more on the academic report from this past year and some of the highlights as well. So it might seem slightly boring to the learners who've been through it and possibly to the parents who've also been part of this journey, but please bear with me and we'll get through it as quickly as possible in order to get to what's important today. So as Mr. van der Walt mentioned, there were COVID last year resulted in quite a few gaps and quite a few challenges that we had to face. And so this year as well started off not the way we would have liked it to, with a sort of hybrid approach with learners, some learners coming onto campus and others staying at home. And that was, it seems like a lifetime ago, but we were in stage 3 at the beginning of this year. And to imagine, at the time, I think it was very difficult for us to imagine coming out of that and actually being in a space where we have a little bit more freedom, especially on campus and in our everyday life. So that after, I think it was about February or so, we moved back into a maximum capacity face-to-face teaching curriculum where all learners were allowed back on campus into the classroom, and we as teachers could now actually interact and get our curriculum across in the way that we wanted to, and to have maximized that potential. So the volatility of 2020, obviously having mentioned COVID, resulted in quite a few learners, not only from an academic point of view, but also from an emotional and psychological point of view, undergoing quite a few challenges and many undergoing loss and trauma. And all of those things have a knock-on effect and they all impact the academic curriculum. And so with that in mind, we as a staff, as a school, decided to implement a learner-teacher mentor program where each of our learners were given a teacher who they could go and see and just speak about some of the things that they were dealing with. Very often, just speaking about things just gets rid of a whole lot of stress and anxiety that's been carried. And from the feedback that we received, we really did find that that was invaluable to some of our learners who were struggling more than others. Considering this, we are making the same strides into 2022, where we are looking at, or we are confirming a school counselor, a registered counselor who will be coming onto campus, who will be able to continue from where we as staff have left off, not in any way to remove ourselves from that duty as teachers and as the loco parentis that you entrust us with. And so we as staff will still be available, but we'll have that additional support from a counselor who will be able to give more specific guidance to our learners who are struggling. To counter some of the setbacks that learners faced academically, we also brought in Elevate Education, who ran a few study skills workshops, and all of our learners were part of that, and they were exposed to the various different methods on how to improve on the academics. And we feel that the vast majority of the learners who gave feedback gave positive feedback, and so moving into next year, we are once again going to host Elevate Education, and we are going to build on those foundations that they have started laying. Hopefully, slowly but surely, also start breeding a culture of independent learning amongst our learners in order to get them to the place that they need to be to make it through their FET years and their final matric certificate. We also had challenges with a few of our subjects, with foundational concepts that some of our learners struggled with. We tackled that by organizing sciences workshops and extra maths classes after school in order to try and bridge those gaps and get our learners to a place where they are more prepared and ready for the curriculum that is going to build on this year, next year. We are going to continue to find practical and relevant ways in which to support our learners when and where they need it. And so watch this space for this year. We also will continue with our extra lessons classes after school. Learners who are struggling and who need that little extra push are going to have that available to them. And should there be any further intervention that is needed, we will obviously make those recommendations and see what can be done to implement them at school. Van Walt mentioned the fact that sport was interrupted. Next year, we're hoping to push a full sport program and extracurricular program, should I say, with the newcomer activities such as debating, Toastmasters. We will have additions to the technology club. We'll be opening up new sport codes so that we give our learners as much opportunity as possible to get involved, and we really do hope that they do take this and get involved outside of the academic curriculum. Looking at our final results, which we've just gone through in order to prepare for this prize giving, and then obviously drawing those comparisons with previous years, not that we have too many previous years to draw from, and so the data that we have is very limited. However, having looked at the data and seeing the results from this year, it's very clear to see that a slight improvement was achieved across the board for all our grades and in most of our subjects as well. And this means that our teachers are doing the work, our students are doing the work, and we can hopefully continue to see that upward trend as we move into 2022 and the way forward. And so I think that we can all be very proud of the effort that has been put into this last year from an academic point of view. And our learners, our parents, our teachers, we can all give ourselves a very gentle pat on the back to remind ourselves that getting to the end of this year has been an achievement in itself. And so without boring you with any more details from the past year, I'd like to just mention one more thing on the leadership program that has started up in the way of our SWAT committee. Next year, we are going to be introducing the next stage in that, which is our LIT, which are our leaders in training, and they are going to be seen as our entire grade 10 group at the moment are seen as our grade 12 leaders, and so a lot of effort is going to be placed into building that potential and developing it into leaders who we can entrust a lot of the school's logistics with, and just encourage some of the other learners to perform just as well. So I think it's safe to say that Curro Westbrook High School has provided an environment that encourages academic virtues and is always working towards academic progress. We'll continue to motivate, encourage, and extract as much potential out of our learners as is possible to help them discover their full potential as they continue to develop. And so, to the boys and girls sitting here, I mentioned this 2 years ago to our only grade 10 group, and I'll say it again now. I will continue to believe in each and every single one of you. I believe that those who are not sitting here today receive that same belief from me, and I think that when you and when those who aren't here realize how important it is to have that same self-belief that we as teachers have for you, I think that's when your journey starts getting very, very exciting. And so that is what we hope for, and that is what we'll be pushing for. So I'm going to call up Olona Mpondo, who is going to give our learner feedback report. Olona?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mr. Van der Walt, Mr. Mercer, and staff. A very big welcome to all the moms and dads, and especially to my fellow learners. As we all know, 2021 has come to an end, and it has come with its challenges, but we all have good memories to cherish. And we are here today in honor of the grade 8s, 9s, and 10s academic success of 2021. My name is Olo Nambondo in grade 10 E1. I am very proud to have been at Curro since primary school, as many of my fellow learners have been too. Curro has been our home away from home for as long as some of us can remember. Being in a growing school, we have made strong and lasting friendships. We have played together, learned together, laughed together, won and lost together, and this year we have succeeded together. In 2021, Curro Westbrook elected their first SWAT team members. SWAT stands for Students Working Alongside Teachers. Learners were put in leadership roles and were given duties around the school, where we had to help with morning scanning, bathroom duties, and break duties. We learned responsibility and time management.
We also started the mentor program this year, where learners were either able to select a mentor or the mentor was chosen for them. And with this, there was always a positive feedback. Learners were able to speak to their mentor and seek advice, support, and guidance. Our grade 10s had a leadership camp that was all planned out by Ms. Van Kerk, and I speak for all my fellow grade 10s that we have learned a lot from what we have experienced. It was not only fun, but it was also educational. We got to learn about each other, not only in a classroom environment, but from outside of the classroom environment. It was an enlightening experience as we bonded as a group, and most importantly, we learned about ourselves. The whole group of the grade 10s were taught leadership skills and teamwork, which helped us grow in grade 11. Our grade 10 registered teacher and technology teacher, Ms. Piri, sadly left our school in the third term. Her departure was not easy at all, but since we grew so fond of her. It was difficult adjusting to that, but we had to make the best out of every situation and be positive, which is the lesson to take from 2021. Thank you to the wonderful Ms. Tanner who took over her role.
Our teachers really did their best to help us throughout the year, and not just in the classroom. They held fun activities for us to beat the usual school stress, such as hot chocolate on cold days, the ice cream on hot days, and the Heritage Day Funky Socks celebration. We also celebrated Women's Day, where Mrs. Port Elizabeth, Mrs. Faku, gave us a speech about how to carry yourself as a woman.
What I've learned is that our school is full of surprises. For example, the new development which surpassed our imagination. The massive school hall being built and the new high school. We are all excited for what 2021 holds in our new buildings. I'm sure the sports lovers can't wait to welcome some more team members in their sports teams. This year was certainly a trying year for some. We went through hard times but found our rhythm and we all pushed through. We are all seated here and we can finally say to ourselves, well done, I've done my best to get where I am. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, I'm just going to hold it. It's going to be much easier for me to do that. Okay, so thank you, Olona Atlumile. We're nearly there. We're nearly getting to the awards. I've got one last thing that I want to do. So, okay, so in introducing the awards, I'd like to do it in a different, a unique way. And I'd like to sort of run with a very simple exercise that I think is going to help motivate all of us sitting here, whether learners or parents, teachers, and hopefully bring some clarity and direction to how to motivate yourself, how to reach your potential and achieve your goals. And so I really want to encourage you that as I run through this exercise, that you really take it seriously and be intentional about what you're going to be thinking about and imagining. Okay, so I'd like to first ask that we all close our eyes, not for prayer, okay, but this is to get ourselves into a space where we aren't going to be distracted and we can reflect. This can be parents as well. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to imagine yourselves 1 year from now, okay, in exactly the same position at a prize giving, an award ceremony event, and I want you to think about one award, the one award that you would like to go up and to receive. Think very carefully about this award, because this award has to mean something to you now. Okay? This award could be school-related, could be work-related for parents who are here. It could be personal, a personal goal or award that you'd like to achieve. As you visualize your name being called out by the presenter who's going to be handing this award over, I'd like you to stand up and start walking towards the stage. In your mind, okay, please don't do it in reality. Okay, so in your mind, your name has just been called out by the presenter for this award that you have imagined. And you're making your way to the stage. As you're walking towards the stage, I want you to think about how much effort you will have to have put in to have received that award. Obviously, we're a year from now. I want you to think back over the year. Think back how much effort for you to receive the award that you want to get. How much hard work will you have had to have put in? How many hours every day did you have to put in? Imagine yourself sitting, if it's academics, sit behind that desk. Place yourself into that situation. How hard? How much time, how much sweat had to go into it? Then look around the room as you're walking as well. Who's sitting in the audience? Family, friends, strangers? I don't know. Who's sitting in the audience who's here to see you achieve that award? Imagine them. See their faces as you walk past them towards the stage. Only imagine those who you really want to be in the audience. Focus on those who are positive influences. And then lastly, as you come up onto the stage, I'd like you to imagine yourself actually taking that award, receive that award from the presenter. Imagine the feelings that you're going to be overcome with. Those feelings, possibly feelings of pride in the work that you've put in. Possibly feelings of relief that the hard work has paid off. Possibly that feeling of walking on the clouds, being in that moment untouchable because this achievement has meant so much to you. Almost like royalty would feel. Imagine those feelings that you would feel achieving the award that you want to. So soak it all in. Think on that for a few seconds. Okay, open your eyes. Okay, back to reality. Okay. Now, I think where you're sitting now, if you haven't yet realized what this process has just sort of taught you or has helped you understand, I'm going to explain it, and I hope that it's going to mean something. So first and foremost, okay, very simply, what you have done is you have set yourself an achievable goal. In your mind, you are not going to imagine something that is unachievable. You aren't going to imagine yourself going to Mars. That's not the award that you're going to have put in place if you did this intentionally. So firstly, that award that you have thought about in your mind, that's achievable to you. You believe in your mind, the subconscious believes that you have the ability to achieve that award. That award's not just any award. That is a dream award that's coming from a place of, this is the ideal, this is what I really want to get. Secondly, you've acknowledged how much effort you're going to have to put in to achieve that award. You sat there, you know what it's going to take to achieve that award. Right now, we might be sitting here, some of us might be very surprised at the fact that we're sitting here going, yeah, it actually didn't really, maybe I didn't put as much effort in, but in your mind, in that visualization, you had to go through the process of understanding the work that went into achieving that award. Thirdly, as you walked up to the stage, you saw those around you. You imagined the faces of those in the audience. Now, most of the time when we imagine those around us, we imagine those who are going to be supporting us. We aren't going to imagine the distractions. We aren't going to imagine the naysayers who come up and who constantly try to knock you down and who call some of us possibly you nerd or whatever it is to try and diminish what you have achieved or what you are working towards. Focusing on those faces in the audience, those are the individuals who you need to focus on in your future. It's those people who you walk past, who you need to surround yourselves with when working towards your goals. Be conscious of that at all times, no matter what goal it is that you've set for yourself. Be conscious of who you place around you. The distractions, those naysayers, they aren't in the audience. They aren't there cheering you on. They aren't there to see you get that award. And that's not me just saying that, that's you thinking that. Very few of you would have put somebody in your audience who didn't have a positive influence on your life. And those of you who did, maybe it was to prove a point. Maybe it was, told you so. That's why you're here, to see me achieve and you to sit in the audience. I hope it's not that, but okay. And then, lastly, you've gone through a process where you have already achieved that award. You've already walked up in your mind, you've walked up onto the stage and you have received the award that you really want. And even though it's a thought process, even though it's a visualization, it's the motivation that you need to use to fuel your drive to achieving that award. Those feelings that you want to feel, those feelings that you felt before achieving something great. We all want to feel good about what we're doing. We all want to work towards a goal. We all want to reach that goal. And so I think it's important that we understand that most of the time when we are tasked with, think about your goals for next year. That's what your teacher's going to ask you next year. Think about your goals. And unfortunately, that's where it ends. We just think about our goals. They don't go anywhere. They're just thoughts that are just hanging around in limbo, and we forget thoughts. We forget many of the things that we think of. And so a process like this, a simple visualization process where we spend 5 minutes just working through something where you are placing yourself into a virtual reality, a little bit too close to home at this time, but into this alternate reality, let's use that term rather, where you are then able to transform that thought process into a reality. As you sit here and after the award ceremony this morning, as you move into next year, you're going to be thinking about some of the things for next year, some of the targets that you want to reach. And I want you to be intentional about achieving them. I want you to not just let it be a thought process. The world is currently teeming with dull colors that are just content with going with the flow. Just following the path, just walking. And the question I want to ask, and the thought that I want to leave you with is how bright a color do you want to be in that dull sea of colors? How bright is that light that you want to be? The brighter any light is, the more energy it is using. The brighter your light is going to be, the more effort you are going to have to put in. So, as I leave you with that thought and we move into our current reality, we are now going to recognize the hard work, the excellence, and these bright colors who are sitting here before us in this room right now. And so, to start the award ceremony off, would like to call up Mrs. Tenner, and we are going to get going with the importance of today.
Morning, boys and girls, and parents and staff. I just wanted to share 3 little sentences with you. A teacher has 3 loves. The first is a love for learning. The second is a love for learners. And the third is bringing those 2 together. And I speak from every teacher's heart right now. Boys and girls, we are so proud of what you've done this year. So proud to be sharing this moment with you today to celebrate and honor your successes. But we also need to take a moment to thank those staff members sitting over there. Because behind every award, every certificate, every trophy, your teacher's heart has been there, pushing you, guiding you, and motivating you. Because to the teachers, you aren't just someone sitting in the chair. They care about you individually, and they've put in effort, and they've really gone above and beyond to make sure that we didn't lose anything in 2020. We caught it all up in 2021. So on behalf of the learners and the senior face head and head of high school teachers, thank you for everything you've done as well to allow the learners to succeed in 2021. Okay, now to get on to the good stuff. I'm going to start with the Academic Merit Awards. So the first one is the Academic Improvement Award. A learner must have shown an increase in at least 10% from the previous year to be eligible for this award. Grade 8 of 2021, you will be able to win these awards next year in grade 9. Okay, so our first one, unfortunately I don't see him here this morning, but in his absence to Latita, he increased by 11.4% from grade 8 last year in his overall aggregate. Roxanne Size, she has increased by 16.8% from grade 8 last year. Thank you. Please turn for a photo. And you can take a stand at the end of the stand. I also don't see Ayanda here today, but she, in her absence, increased by 10.8% from grade 9 last year. Thank you, Roxanne. The academic merit certificates from grade 8 to grade 10, the criteria are as follows. A merit certificate is awarded to a learner who has maintained an overall aggregate for the year of 75% or more in 6 subjects in grade 8 and 9, or in 4 subjects from grade 10 to 12. Our grade 8 merit awards, only the top 6 subjects were considered. Our first merit certificate goes to Alex. Our second is Armand. Have Jaden. Theo. Our next individual is absent, but Sizwe would also have received a merit certificate. And our last grade 8 receiving a merit certificate is Sipe. Thank you, boys. Our grade 9 learners receiving merit certificates. Firstly, we have Pashania. Bongiseni. Bali. Roxanne. Tintu. And Anay is not here this morning, but in her absence, she would have received a merit certificate. Thank you, grade 9s. Grade 10 merit certificates. Only the top 4 subjects were considered. We have Joshua. Angelique. Bashri. Thank you, grade 10s. We will now move on to the subject awards. A gold certificate is awarded to a learner who has achieved first position in any subject for the year in the grade, provided that the final year mark is worthy of this award. I'm going to change things up a little bit, and I'm going to start with the grade 10s this time. Okay, in grade 10, for English Home Language, Angelique Alberts. For Maths Literacy, Dylan Malman. First in grade 10 in RT and CAT, we have Joshua. For first in Afrikaans, pure maths, life orientation, life science, and physical science, we have Devashri. Thank you, grade 10s. Okay, now to the senior phase. The reason why I swapped it around is that the senior phase also actually has a trophy per subject. The trophy is awarded across the phase. So in grade 8 and 9, you are competing against each other, not just your fellow classmates. So for English home language, CPE, top in grade 8. And top in grade 9, Sintu. Okay, now between the two boys, who takes home the trophy for English home language within the phase is CPE. For Afrikaans First Additional Language, both of these ladies aren't with us this morning. In grade 8, our top learner was Jenny Lee Els. In grade 9 was Anais Stevens, and Jenny Lee Els would have taken the trophy as well. Maths. Our top learner in grade 8 is CPE. Our top learner in grade 9 is Mbali. And the learner taking the maths trophy for the year is CPE. Congratulations. Life orientation, our top learner for grade 8 is Anande. Our top learner in grade 9 is Sinasipo. Taking the life orientation trophy for the phase is Anande. The IT award for grade 8 is Jenna Lee. For grade 9 is Latita, who's also not here today, and the trophy would have gone to Jenna Lee. The Creative Arts Award for grade 8 is to Jaden. Grade 9 is Anay, who couldn't be with us this morning, and the trophy for Creative Arts goes to Jaden. Technology in grade 8 was Sizwe, who's not here this morning. In grade 9, Sintu. And the trophy would have gone to Sizwe in his absence. Natural science. In grade 8, we have Mateo. Grade 9, Sintu. And the overall trophy for natural sign goes to Sintu. For EMS, the top grade 8 learner, he's not here, was Sizwe. The top grade 9 learner, Mbali. And the trophy for EMS goes to Mbali. Social science, the top grade 8 learner is Kai. Top grade 9 learner is Sintu. And the trophy, sorry. And the trophy for social science goes to Sintu.
Okay, Mr. van der Walt, if I could ask you to come up and present or hand over these next awards. Okay, so our top 3 awards are going to be presented now. For all grades 8 through 10, each learner in the various positions will get a gold, silver, and bronze certificate, and that's to learners who've achieved first, second, and third highest results overall for the year. So I'm going to call up the grade 8s, and I'll call them up from third to first. In third place, with an overall average of 76.1%, we have in his absence, Sizwe Jonas. In second position, with an overall average of 77.2%, we have Sipe Nchangase. And then in first position for grade 8 for 2021, with an overall average of 79%, we have Jaden Fryer. Thank you, boys. Okay, on to the grade 9s. So in third position, we have, with an average of 78.3%, Roxanne Seiss. In second position, with an average of 79.8%, we have Bali Mabaso. And in first position for grade 9 for 2021 with an average of 80.8%, taking it by an entire percent, we have Sintu Amba. Okay, thank you. Okay, on to our grade 10s. In third position, with an overall average of 69%, we have Joshua Snyman. In second position, with an overall average of 71.7%, we have Angelique Alberts. And then in first position for our grade 10 class of 2021, with an overall average of 83.6%, we have Devashri Pillai.
Now on to some special awards. First, just going to explain the criteria before we call the learners up. So for Colors Awards, the averages for the grade 8s to 9s will be calculated over all subjects weighted evenly, whereas the aggregates for grade 10s to 12s are calculated over 7 subjects. In order to achieve half colors, it's awarded to learners who achieve the following overall average at the end of the year. Grade 8 to grade 9s is 75 to 79%. Grade 10 to 12 is 70 to 74%. The learners will receive a badge, a merit certificate, and an academic half colors scroll. In order to achieve full colors for grade 8 to 12, it's awarded to learners who achieve the following overall aggregate for the year. Grade 8 and 9s is 80% plus. Grade 10 to 12 is 75 to 79%. Learners receive a badge, a merit certificate, and an academic colors scroll. We also have an honors award now that we have grade 10s. This is awarded only in the FET phase for achieving an aggregate of 80% plus in all 7 subjects. The grade 8 half colors, including a merit certificate, with an aggregate of 79%, Jaden. With an aggregate of 75.1%, Mateo. an aggregate of 76.1%. He's not here with us this morning, is Sizwe. And an aggregate of 77.2%, Sipe. I'd like to do a group photo. Grade 9 half colors with an aggregate of 78.3%, Roxanne. With an aggregate of 78.2%, she's not here this morning, it goes to Anae. With an aggregate of 79.8%, Mbali. Thank you. Grade 9 full colors with an aggregate of 80.8%, Sintu. Grade 10 half colors with an aggregate of 71.7, Angelique. Thank you. Now for grade 10 honors, with an aggregate of 83.6%, Devashri. Congratulations, boys and girls.
Okay, so that is that. And before we get going, before we start proceedings of photos after the ceremony and a little bit of catching up, I think Mr. van der Walt has already mentioned a few thank yous on his side, but I think those on the right-hand side, the parents and family, guardians, a huge thank you for all the support and the encouragement that you've provided to not only to your children, but also to the school and the staff. We really do appreciate everything that you do behind the scenes in order to make moments like this possible and to help your children develop into who they are becoming. So thank you so much. And then one final thank you needs to be made to the learners who are sitting over here on this side. You are so deserving of the seat that you are sitting in now. And this award ceremony relies completely on the efforts that you put in over the year. Without you here, we're just a social gathering of adults. And it's really nice to be able to be here and to celebrate your achievements. And hopefully in the future you'll be able to exceed your own expectations of what those goals were that you set for yourselves for next year. And then that brings us to the end of, although I think it needs to be mentioned as well that in moments like this at the end of the year, I think the campuses that have all gone through their sort of awards, prize givings, and Christmas ordeals, all of that is helmed by one individual who oversees the heads on top of each of the schools. And I'd really like to make a mention. Thank you, Mr. van der Walt, for all the input and all the guidance and the support that you give us as staff, and also to the learners for constantly making yourself available and just for steering us always in the right direction. We look forward to a bright future of the high school with you also leading us as staff members. So thank you so much for everything that you do. Okay, and on that brings us to the end of our high school award ceremony. I'd like to just remind parents of coffee and tea, and also the photography setup that's over there. The photographer will be available for requests, so please make use of him. And then for those who need to be on their way, we wish you and your families a very, very joyous festive season. Be safe and be intentional about the quality time that you get to spend with family who possibly are still traveling towards you. And if you are traveling, please be safe on the roads so that next year we can have everybody back in one piece. And let's hope that we get through this festive season with very little disruption from COVID. Okay, so I'm excited to see everyone again in the new year. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of the year.